Hey everyone, welcome back to 996 The Howl. Over the weekend last week, the Combine, the NHL Draft Combine happening in Buffalo, and a lot of rumors, rumblings about which teams, like which player, which prospect is going out to dinner with which team. And there's been a lot of talk about Brady, Martin, and Jake O'Brien, who I didn't have on my original draft video, which I'll link in the description. In that video, I had all forwards. I think I had one defenseman, a big, long, tall, lanky defenseman, just threw him in there. But obviously, I think Bill Armstrong and company are going to go for a forward. We had Frondell, Higgins, Desnoyers, Porter Martone, and McQueen rounding out the forwards and centermen. Only Martone is a winger out of those guys. The rest were all centermen. So it's good that these two are centermen as well. I had these guys on my radar. Don't worry. I looked at 15 mock drafts for my original draft video, and Martin only showed up 3 out of those 15 mock drafts. I only looked at ranked 3 to 8. I assumed Schaefer and Misa would go 1-2, and most of the mock drafts had them as 1-2, and I only went down to 8 because Utah Mammoth is picking 4th overall. So Martin showing up 3 times in those 15 mock drafts with an average of 7th ranked in those mock drafts, and then Jake O'Brien was there quite a bit, 6 out of the 15 mock drafts that I pulled, and he averaged around 6th in that where he was placed if he was mentioned. Now, there's a lot of talk about Brady Martin. Like I said, he was on my radar. He was going to be my top draft choice if Utah stayed at 14, but due to Utah moving up to 4th, I just don't know. I'm a bit uneasy here on whether Utah should pick Martin 4th, but who is he? He's 6 feet tall, 187 pounds. He had 33 goals, 72 points in 57 games played for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds in the Ontario Hockey League, and Utah scouts should be well familiar with the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. We got Olin Allard and Noel Nord played with them most recently. So obviously Utah scouts who were scouting Nord and Allard saw Martin play, know all about him, just like how Desnoyers plays for the Moncton Wildcats along with Utah prospect Gabe Smith. So I'm sure scouts have been doing their homework. They're familiar with Martin and Desnoyers because they play with their current prospects. This guy, Martin, he's being said around social media as being farm strong. He grew up on a farm. He works out on his farm. He's not a traditional gym rat. He takes care of all this livestock, builds barns. He built his own gym on his barn. He loves that sort of lifestyle. But in terms of hockey, he plays big. Even though he's not huge in terms of height, he's only 6 feet. He plays a really big game. One of the most physical guys in the draft. He's a wrecking ball. He's a bull in the china shop type of player that Utah is sorely missing. He's got a great shot to go along with it as well. He's physically imposing. He's great on the forecheck. He's high energy. He's got that high motor spirit in him. He's got that high effort, high compete level, and he attacks the net. He's more of an inside player. He's a north-south type of player, which could be a negative, has some positives to it as well. He's got an elite forecheck, and he's got a really high floor. I think because of his work ethic and his compete level, he's not gonna flame out in the NHL in about 2 or 3 years. I think he'll carve himself a great NHL career. But to pick at 4th overall, you need a top 6 player. You need a player who will play top 6 minutes, fill in those top 6 wing positions or the top 2 center positions. He lacks that high-end skill. He lacks some dynamic style to his game. Very predictable. It's all about north-south, straight lines, work ethic, forecheck, battling hard in those dirty areas, and retrieving pucks. I love those guys. You need a lot of them on your team. I just don't know if you pick that type of player at 4th overall. I think Brady Martin might go around 8 to 12. That's why when originally Utah was 14th, this guy was on my radar, and he would for sure be a pick I would love. But at 4th overall, I feel like GMs say you got to pick the best player available, but there's also some high-end skill guys at 4th overall. This is Utah and Bill Armstrong's last chance at grabbing a top 2 centerman. And I don't think Brady Martin fits that top 2 centerman role. A lot of people say he's not for sure not going to be a number 1 centerman. So at 4th overall, really, should you take that risk as opposed to other guys who are predicted and projected to be first-line centermen like Frondell, Higgins, Desnoyers, maybe McQueen, and Martone has that offensive flair. He had 98 points in 57 games played. Martone did compared to Martin. Martone he has that forecheck, has that physicality, but he's a known goal scorer, puts points on the board. I think more comfortable with going with Martone at 4th overall, but I understand Martone is a winger and not a centerman like Martin. Martin is an alternate captain for his team, for the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, and there's a lot of people, mainstream media, journalists, they're tying Brady Martin and Utah together. Maybe Utah trades down if they really like Martin. I'd be okay with that as well. At least you get an asset. You drop down to like 8, 9, or 10th spot, knowing you can grab Martin. And that would be an avenue I would be perfectly okay with if they really like this guy. But 4th overall is a bit too high to go get him, a bit of a reach. They sort of did that with Iginla last year, where Iginla, again, was around that 10th spot, 8 to 12, and Utah picked 6, so it wasn't that much of a reach. And I do like that pick of Iginla and Baudouin at the end of that first round. So that is Martin, and those are my thoughts for Martin. Then we're going to Jake O'Brien, centerman, plays in the Ontario Hockey League for Brantford. He's 6'2", 170 pounds. He had 32 goals, 98 points in 66 games played. This guy is an elite, offensively intelligent, cerebral, playmaking centerman, much like Frondell, who was touted as being cerebral, having a great two-way game, like a Barkov type of player. Frondell, his shot was mentioned a lot. Didn't see too much of O'Brien's shot. And the maturity of Frondell just kept jumping out the page to me rather than O'Brien. But he's got elite playmaking. He's creative. He's a well-rounded two-way centerman as well. So like Frondell, he has a great two-way game that he brings to the team. And he's got leadership qualities. He's an alternate captain, just like Brady Martin is for his team. The negatives for O'Brien, there would be 2 O'Brien on the team. So Spicy Tuna will have to be called Spicy Tuna. Maybe they change the name on the back of his jersey just to make things more clear. But he's got to fill out his frame. He's 6'2", but 17 pounds lighter than Martin, who's 2 inches smaller than O'Brien. He's got to get stronger, be more physical. And a lot of scouts were saying how his faceoffs were really weak. So that's an area where with NHL coaches, with having a face-off coach, the Utah Mammoth have Blaine Forsyth as their power play and face-off coach. I'm sure they could help him out in the face-off department. But O'Brien, he's a play driver. He drives the play. He's not complimentary. He's deceptive. He's elusive. He reminds me when I read about him like a Logan Cooley, maybe a bit bigger in stature, being at 6'2", but these are the 2 draft picks that you could add to my previous list of draft picks that I've obviously linked in the description. My gut says, I think I was right with Marner. I think it came out today, another NHL rumor mill, that Utah won't throw a lot of money on a big free agent. Obviously, I'm talking about Mitch Marner there, so I was right about that. Let's see if I could get it right for the draft. I think they're going to go with Martone. And it's going to be funny at the draft if whoever announces the pick, are they going to say Martone correctly? Or because Martin and Martone, they might say Martin, even though they read Martone, they might pronounce it as Martin. That would be a funny moment if that happened when they announced the pick. But I think Porter Martone would be my guy. And I'm on the edge of Desnoyers and Frondell. I wouldn't be upset if they went with both those guys instead of Martone. But I think as it stands for me, it's Martone, Desnoyers, Frondell, and then from there, like Higgins is a good pick. Martin, you can throw him there with Higgins as well. But a lot of people are talking about these 2 players. I thought you should be well informed since I didn't have them on my board. I can't fit everybody, But these are the two players. And the draft, 2.5 weeks are we out from it? It's on a Friday night, so that should be very exciting. And this is the best part of the offseason. We're about to hit the peak with the draft, with free agency, and then a huge come down for the middle and end of July and August, where there's rarely any news. So enjoy it. There's a lot of rumors out there. Don't believe everything you see. And one more thing, if you're hearing a lot about Utah and Brady Martin, maybe they're doing it on purpose. That's another angle to this as well. They might be showing their hands on purpose because you don't want other teams to know who you're picking. So if it comes out that, oh, they really like this guy, then that starts to get some trade talks going. Maybe, a team like Seattle is reading the news and says, you know what, we're at 8. They like Brady Martin. Maybe I should call up Bill Armstrong, see if we could work out a trade. There's those angles to it as well. There's a sort of gamesmanship at the combine and around the draft. When people start to leak things, you start to hear a lot of things. So there's that side to it as well. I think GMs, they shouldn't be a proper GM. You shouldn't know who he's going to pick. I was blindsided by Simishev, blindsided by Iginla. These GMs, Bill Armstrong, he likes to keep stuff to his chest. He's not a blabbermouth. So this is why it gets me a little bit tentative about why we're hearing so much about this. But then again, journalists, mainstream media people, whatever you want to call them, there's nothing out there in terms of news. They're trying to just get clicks and engagement and just throwing out names and teams and seeing, what if we say this team likes this player? How many clicks will we get? Now you're starting to hear Marner and Anaheim. Will that drive any clicks? So just be wary. Don't believe everything you read. But at the same time, I do understand these are big centermen. One of them's a playmaker. One of them's a physical demon. So obviously you would tie them to that Bill Armstrong type of player. So that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, spread the word. And as always, thank you for your support.